Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves is already available on home video, but could this early digital release help the push for a sequel?
Let's find out.
Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves had a better run in theaters than most fans might imagine. It managed to rack up about $203 million worldwide so far on a $150 million budget. And that's despite being sandwiched between John Wick 4, which performed super well, and the juggernaut that is the Super Mario Bros. Movie, which has made like $1 billion or like $2 billion. I don't know. Billions of dollars.
$100 billion. Oh, gentlemen.
So that leads to the question, why did Paramount and E1 decide to move Dungeons & Dragons to digital so soon? And could that decision, plus the good reviews and a solid box office in the face of some really rough competition, be enough to greenlight a sequel? To find out, we asked Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves producer Jeremy Latcham what was behind the move to release the movie on digital, what was still playing in many theaters. So talking about, the movie, the D&D movie is out on, for home release now. And there were some questions about, was it always the strategy to get the D&D movie out there to home audiences, as quickly as it was? What were the decision making that went into the timing of something like this?
It's interesting. The whole process of windowing and distribution is changing so quickly. And as a filmmaker, it's often, if I'm being totally honest, it's often a bit disheartening, because you want as many people in the world to see the movie big on a big giant screen as possible. And I think, with this film, we were running up against a very crowded March and a much more competitive situation than I think any of us were anticipating. I had a notion that Mario was going to be huge. It was like not understood the degree to which it was going to be huge. And I think realistically, we ended up in this tough release corridor. And I think that the decision was made by the studio, which I think is probably smart, which is like, people are still talking about the movie. It's still top of mind. Let's get it to them at home where they're more likely to give it a shot. Because the thing we know about this movie, and this is what I'm so proud of, is that if I go online and I type in hashtag D&D movie and read tweets, like I find one negative tweet for every 100 positive tweets. It's like truly a movie that people love and have a great time, but they just didn't quite understand it was for them. I think that the words Dungeons and Dragons, I think, are complicated because I think people look at that and go, oh, I don't know. That's like my friend plays that. I haven't played that before. And the thing about the movie is it's literally for everybody. Like the people that enjoy it oftentimes the most have literally never picked up a 20-sided die, have no idea what a dungeon or a dragon is, but they come to the film and they find it's just this great adventure full of great characters and great heart and tons of humor and real emotion. And so conveying that to the audience has proven to be complicated because I think there is a lot of awareness around the brand and a lot of assumptions from mainstream audience as to what that means. And so part of the fun here is this totally upends it, and you realize anybody with an imagination is going to have a good time, and we all have imaginations. So it really is a movie for everybody. And I think that's part of how the decision was made was let's get it out broader right now, because we know people consume at home just as often more than they go to the cinema. As a filmmaker, all I want is people to go to the cinema. That's the best way to see a movie. It's so much fun. But the good thing now is that people have these massive TVs and these great sound systems. And also people like watching stuff with their AirPods on their phone. So it's either way, I just want people to experience the film. And so if this means more people experience the film, I'm totally down. But it's a crazy moment in history that we're in with the windowing situation. And it's hard for theaters and it's hard for consumers to find stuff. There's a lot going on. But the good thing is everybody who sees the film, they end up having a good time. I mean, I really think that's the case. And I know I have a good time every time I watch the film. It just makes me laugh and makes me have so many feelings. And so, the more people that see it, the more I think they're going to have a good time and experience something new.
So, as you can see from the interview, it seems like Paramount really wants to capitalize on the good word of mouth of the movie and try to get in front of as many new eyes as possible while Super Mario Bros. And now Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 dominate the box office, which really makes a lot of sense. Everything we've heard about this movie is that they expected this movie to have really long legs. And what better way to kind of capitalize that than by giving people an alternative to things like Mario and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 when they don't want to go to the theater, when they don't want to pay like $40 for 2 tickets and a bucket of popcorn. We've also heard that Paramount is pleased with the box office performance despite the movie's rough release window, and that Honor Among Thieves shot to the top of the digital chart when it was released. So really, this move could actually solidify plans for a sequel, or just allow for the creation of another D&D movie in general down the road. And in their defense, the box office for a D&D movie that was not immediately followed by the year's biggest movie release could have had some much better numbers. They just had some real tough luck. So, given the success of the early digital release of Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves and the box office performance in the face of some unstoppable things like the Super Mario Bros. Avalanche, we'd be shocked if another Dungeons & Dragons movie was not in the works. But, what do you guys think? Are you on board for an Honor Among Thieves sequel? Let us know in the comments and feel free to hit those like and subscribe buttons.